Hello and welcome to Happiness Per Km. My name is Ashish. This is Sumit. Today, this is a series that we are doing essentially again for touring. We'll just be running through a few things that we've done on our motorcycles for touring. And again, caveat, this is by no means a recommendation from us. We are just sharing our experiences. My Interceptor alone has done about 33,000 kilometers now on all terrains. So we'll be talking about that in just a minute. But first, just see this beautiful bike that Sumit has built. Sumit, so this is the Interceptor as we call it.
Yeah, it's somewhere between GT and the Interceptor.
Now tell me, why can't you tour on this? I want to tour on this bike.
2-3 reasons. First of all, the rear end has been chopped.
Yes.
And there's a lot of mud that slings when you're in some water or muddy situation. So not really fit for touring. You don't know what kind of terrain you will be on. Secondly, the foot pegs, rider foot pegs are rear set because it is essentially the GT. Originally it was the GT. So that is the reason you can't tour for a longer duration.
But it's just such a beautiful bike.
Yeah, it's just beautiful, good for city. That's it. But well, you've done 33,000 kilometers on your bike.
Yep.
You've been saying this a lot of times and you've done it. But there are a lot of mods that I see on your bike. So what are the critical ones? Can you run me through these?
Come, I'll give you a dekho.
Yeah.
So let's start with, these are Mad Dog Scout X.
Wow.
The link will be in the description. This is the new model.
Yeah, I've got the Scout on my KTM.
Yes, so this is the upgraded model after the Scout.
Okay.
Why I got very interested with these was, one, it's made in Bangalore.
Okay.
Now, whatever we want to say, hashtag vocal for local,
Make in India or
yes.
India, whatever. Yeah.
So, I always fly the flag on my bike in some way or the other. These are made in India, they are very good.
Yes.
And this came with a wiring harness. So that is one. This is a GoPro mount. This is a RD 350 handlebar.
Yeah,
it's higher.
Very comfortable.
It's got a brace.
I think since my Bullet days.
Absolutely.
I've been hearing about the RD.
So with these indicators might be very familiar.
Yeah, they are.
But see, I'm not going to get into design aesthetics as much as you do. As you know, because this bike runs a lot, I want to be very visible.
Okay.
So I'll just show these to you. These are the Triumph Bonville indicators with the SimTac bulbs.
Great combination.
Great combination and it's extremely visible.
Yep.
And we've spoken about it. I changed the headlight. Now I might get...
Does it help you in touring somewhere from going for a smaller headlight than the bigger one?
I think it does because it's made the beam slightly more powerful.
Okay.
While I know it sounds very contradictory because the size becomes smaller.
Yeah.
Between the Osram Nightbreaker bulb and the smaller light, this is a Lumex light for 800 rupees.
Good.
I'm not going to get into whether it's technically correct or not, but it works.
But yeah, even for touring, you anyway have got the aux lights.
Correct. And this is something that we literally put together for the first time last year. This is the Himalayan windshield.
I see you are back to it now.
I am back to it because I tried the carbon racing one for some time. I just found it's a beautiful windshield, the carbon racing one. I just found it very big.
And even with a smaller headlight, it was
correct. And after that, after we just figured out wind, etc., this size of windshield actually, after having done 30,000 kilometers on this motorcycle, I think it's enough.
Okay.
Otherwise, you need, which is not really needed.
Then the bike wobbles.
Correct. But then the bike wobbles. Then, if you just come this side, so as you can see, I've cleaned up the handlebar.
Yeah.
Earlier, I used to have those chargers and and that. So now, there are only two switches. One is for the Mad Dog and one is for the SimTac flasher. This trip machine made it like a tank bag, but I sometimes use it as a small pannier. And this is what I love.
I think the magnets are
the magnets are very strong. So this also doubles up as a clunk tank bag. This is the GT touring seat, which I'm going to be changing.
Why? A lot of GT guys, a lot of Interceptor guys, they are after this GT seat.
Yes, also because it's also...
want to change it. Why?
Honestly, if you are doing sometimes, the distances that we pull, 500-600 kilometers, this is good enough till 300 to 400 kilometers in a day. After that, the width of it is a bit narrow.
Yeah.
So you don't have under thigh support. Looks really nice.
Surprisingly, RE calls it the touring seat.
Yeah. This is a small side box bag. I'm not going to get into names who made it, but for some odd reason he made one.
He made one, sold one.
sold one.
And and shut down the company.
When I asked him where is the right hand side one, he said we don't make. So, and honestly, I think it looks fabulous.
Yeah, it does.
But it's empty. Because the moment I put anything, with a little bit of weight in it, I'm balancing one side of the bike a little more.
Correct. You can't.
These are our dear friend and your dearest friend, Zana. Zana made these. This is the second edition of these saddle stays. I've had saddle stays on my bike for almost 2 years.
Okay.
If you just, whenever the camera can come around, this is a new support that they've come.
Yeah. So it doesn't rattle.
Correct.
Earlier it used to.
Correct. Yeah. Now we get this question a lot. Can I mount panniers on the Interceptor? Yes, you can. There is one way of doing it where you put them here over the shockers, but it needs a little bit of experience because moment you don't have this and you have very heavy bags, just gravity, it will curve inwards and it will go towards the wheel.
Okay.
So these saddle stays I use for a variety of things. I use it like a grab rail. If I have lots of luggage, I get so many mounting points.
Mounting points, yes.
Again, there are some things done on the bike which you may not agree from an aesthetic point of view. This is the Himalayan tail light. If you can just put the switch on, please. And if you just come around and see, it's visible, right?
Correct.
And because, lots of times I'm riding in either snow or in low visibility or in fog or in rain. While principally I have always been looking for a round light, I still haven't found one that I like and that does the job.
In touring, it's always function over form.
Correct. So that's one. Again, this is going to get lots of debate, but these are AEW slip-ons.
This is version 2, I believe, right?
These are the oldest ones. This is 101. Version 2 of the...
Yeah.
So why do I like the slip-ons versus the stock? The stock, while yes, on all technical parameters, the bike will tick all boxes. In real life touring, this allows the bike to stay cool.
Yeah.
Because it's a slip-on and it's got a silent baffle, so it's not obnoxiously loud.
Correct.
And I'm running this in conjunction with a
I've got the louder one.
Yes, yours is very loud. When we just speak about it, we'll just switch it on and then we'll compare our throaty gargles. I forgot, these are the RE touring mirrors.
Yeah. And you have put some extenders as well?
So this is made by ADV Tribe. These are mirror extenders. Because the way the riding triangle of the motorcycle is, when you're sitting like this, the mirror is here. So
the shoulders obstruct the view. Yeah.
Correct. And plus, again, these are quirks that I have. The headlight is round, indicator has to be round, mirror has to be round, and the tail light has to be round, but I still haven't gotten there. So what this does is gives me a...
No, we'll put the Meteor one there.
More field of view. The other mods which we can not show on camera because we'll have to take them out. So when I change my brake pads, there's so much debate that happens on OEM versus aftermarket. I am now running EBC pads.
Okay, they're supposedly the best.
They are fabulous.
Yeah.
I think they have a lot of bite. And just to give you a sense of, and because people keep debating this and we keep getting pinged of how long they last. My rear ones have already done 11,000.
Okay.
My front ones now have done almost 20,000.
Really?
I don't do too much of braking, like I always keep saying. I rely mostly on engine braking. So it works well for me. That's about it. Yes, and these tires.
Yes.
We will be doing a specific episode on tires because I'm tired of
talking about tires.
These are the Timson's 823s.
Okay.
Do you remember I once said, I'll never get knobbies?
Yeah. So you think?
So these are supposed to be, dual purpose, off-road plus on tarmac. Honestly,
are you happy with them?
I think it's a compromise.
Okay.
Very honestly.
Of course, over the Scorpion trails.
Yes. Yeah, so the Pirelli Scorpion Trail 2, I ran for 18,500 kilometers, and as you know, we like to sometimes ride a little aggressively.
Yeah.
So these are not that great. Their cornering grip is quite average, and that's about it.
The rear tire. I think you
so the rear
had 150. Now you have 130.
So rear tire, interestingly, if you look, I keep getting questions that, which is the brand of 150 that you have? This is a 130 section.
Yeah, even I got surprised when you told me.
It just looks...
Yeah, quite wide.
So these are, as you can see, I haven't, and this is something that I say every time we speak about it, I don't like to figure with the design philosophy of the manufacturer. They've spent a lot of time
Correct.
in designing the bike. The chassis has been designed by Harris Performance.
And they do a lot of durability testing and stress testing.
So, what do I, and now that we are talking about it, I wanted to do it, but it involved too many changes. This fuel tank is about 13 liters. And under most conditions, we get a range of between 210 to 260.
Yeah.
Not good enough.
But Ashish, you should consider the fact that the Interceptor is essentially a city motorcycle. Just because of the high capacity, we are using it for touring because it is quite potent. But
see,
for 12 liters for city is good.
See, I've said this often to me, I think, and at the risk of not offending anyone, I still think this is one of the best platforms.
It is indeed.
For about 3.5 lakh rupees, give or take, 650 cc, 47 bhp of power, etc., etc. We can talk about that all day.
Correct.
Now that, see, the way the motorcycle was envisaged by RE and the way it's being used, there is one classroom and technical approach and there is one practical approach, right?
We've seen it with the Bullet.
I don't want 5 motorcycles, that one for touring, one for rain, one for snow, and one. This is one motorcycle which does it all for me.
Yeah.
And I have the kilometers on it. It's just that I think the capacity and the range of the motorcycle is too low. And especially if you are pulling 5 to 600, we at times do 700 kms a day. So which means, 3 tankfuls. But having said that, until unless you're doing Spiti or Ladakh, there are fuel pumps everywhere.
Correct. But do you recommend getting a custom tank made?
Paint or made?
Made. A bigger one.
We spoke to our friend, but he told me it's complicated. He'll take the fuel pump from here, put it into that, and then I was worried about, not worried, just didn't want to finger, am I going to disbalance the bike?
Okay.
So this is 13 liters, if I put a 18 to 20 liter tank on it, and I haven't done anything what the OEM has done in terms of, design and just, so that was a risk. So, and I don't want my motorcycle standing somewhere for 2 months because I need to ride it.
Absolutely.
So that's about it. If you have any questions, I'm happy to ask. If you, one big change is, I used to run the Hitchcock preloader.
Yeah.
I found it a bit temperamental and on the harder side. So I've gone back to the stock springs. Of course, I run a heavier fork oil. The stock oil is 2.5W, I'm running 10W and spacers. This is what Atul Singh did at Speedmonks had done.
So would you want to explain to our viewers, why did you go in for a harder oil? What does it do for the front suspension?
See, again, this is a very personal point of view, but since it's grown in popularity, suffice to say that lots of people are identifying with it. The front suspension of the Interceptor is soft. And especially if, God forbid you have to do hard braking or the road just goes a little up and down, and the front end moves around too much and it's got a tendency to dive. And when you are riding long, you want a stable platform.
Yeah, so thicker oil does it.
And if you can just come around, I'll show you another thing. I am running the rear shocks in position number 5.
With the hardest.
Which is the hardest. Which means in position 5 or the hardest, this bike will move around the least. Because usually when we are running luggage, 15 to 20 liters of luggage, and you don't have Delhi kind of roads on the highways. So then you'll go, bouncing. These are trip machine grips. The tank pads have been on the bike for long.
A lot of people complain that the trip machine grips, they slip a lot. I've never felt it, do you?
Now, there's an insight to that. Whenever it's new, I can't say it slips, it's just that it's very smooth. Over a period of time, the natural grooves and your hand shape forms.
Correct.
I think they're fabulous.
Even I love them.
So that's about it. Yeah, it's a very simple, some simple mods which have really helped me. And so guys, this is what I have done on my Interceptor, and we do have many stories to tell, but if you have any specific questions on touring mods for the Interceptor, please write down on the comments below and we'll be happy to get back to you. And just again as a closing thing, caveat, none of what we have discussed is a brand endorsement. This is purely what we are sharing in our experience. And I've had this bike for almost 2 years. In January this bike will complete 2 years. It's done 33,000, so whatever I have done from a very personal point of view works for me. And just before we go away, all the mods that we have discussed, including some of the recommendations that we made earlier, all these are shortly going to be available on the recommendations page on happinessperkm.com. Do check it out, and there will be buy links there. Thanks for speaking to me, Sumit, and all yours.
So guys, I hope you liked watching this video. There's a lot of information available here. In case you want something more to be discussed, you can write into me at sumit@happinessperkm.com. Don't forget to click like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel called Happiness Per KM. Thank you for watching.